So Kristen and I are madly in love with each other for 22 years and planning to do ministry together. I've been in pastoral ministry for a little over 20 years, us together, but not really doing full-time ministry together. And so we're excited about the next phase of what God had in store for us. And when we started making plans toward that, we found out that she had stage 4 lung cancer, non-smoker's lung cancer. And of course, the day that happened, that we found that out, was the most horrible, horrific, tragic news. You know, it was just shock beyond belief.
So I was a sophomore at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, enjoying being a college student, having a blast. I loved the big city, loved my friends, and growing up I had like the best family in the whole world, just the best parents. They had an incredible marriage, and when I was a sophomore at Moody, I found out that my mom had cancer. And a lot of people are fine when they have cancer. They get treatment and they're fine. And so I just kind of assumed that she would be fine.
But we still were hoping for the miracle. We believed in the God of miracles. We believe in the God who parts the Red Sea and raises Lazarus from the dead and heals blind Bartimaeus. And we were praying to that end and hoping to that end and believing to that end that God would heal. He would perform the miracle. And He didn't.
We battled with her really hard for about a year, and we prayed for miracles, prayed for healing, and kind of all along we never really even thought that she might pass away.
To be really honest, I wanted to die. I told the Lord, I'm done. I have served you for 25 years as a pastor. I have faithfully given everything I've gotten, everything I have to you, Lord. And you're going to take Kristen. And so I said, I was kind of like Elijah. Lord, I'm done. Just take me. I'm ready to go home. For me to live as Christ, to die as gain, and I'm ready to go. And I don't want to be on this earth anymore. It's a place of a lot of pain, especially right now.
My world was like completely rocked. My whole life I had such an awesome relationship with Jesus. He was like my best friend, and I just had this sweet relationship with Him. You know, just desiring to please Him, desiring to do and live my life for Him. And then this happened, and I just felt like devastated by Him, and I felt like this was His fault, and I was so confused. And so for about a year after my mom passed away, I was just so angry. I hated going to church, and I hated worship, and which was always something I really enjoyed. And so I was just confused, like Jesus was everything to me, and then now He was like this foreign God who I didn't even know.
In the midst of all of that grief and suffering and pain, I was not only sad, but had to work through anger and just the questioning of God, questioning the goodness of God. And even when I'm in that state of mind, I sensed numerous times since Kristen passed that Jesus was sitting right beside me, weeping with me. And that was so comforting. Even when I'm sad and mad, kind of almost simultaneously, and just the emotions are just running the gamut. In one sense, my human flesh was like, no, God, to pull away from Him. And it was just like Jesus is just pulling me in and weeping with me. And the sorrow that I was experiencing, He was fully sharing with me, and never condemnation, no guilt, no shame, like you should be over this by now. It was just one of full acceptance, full grace, full love, full, it's okay, Kurt. I'm with you.
So even through that, I think by his grace, I never turned my back on him. I tried to go to him when I was in pain, and when I was even angry at him, I would tell him that I was angry at him, which, people say, if you're angry at the Lord, go to him with your anger. Don't turn away from the Lord with your anger. And so I tried to do that. And even when I felt like I was just hitting a blank wall, I just kept going and kept going and kept going.
Somebody shared a verse with me, Psalm 147, verse 3. I was familiar with this verse. God heals the brokenhearted, and he binds up their wounds. And that began a prayer for me and my 4 kids almost every day, that I would pray over them. Lord, just heal our broken hearts. I sensed him saying to me, you continue to pray that Psalm 147 verse 3. Just keep praying that every day. And over the last months, God has just continued, and now years, God has just slowly healed our broken hearts.
The second year after my mom passed away, I felt just like deep sadness. The first year was a lot of anger. Second year was just like, I don't know if this is ever going to get better. And then now we're kind of into year 3, and this is the first year that I don't feel like life is going to be miserable forever.
Do we still miss Kristen? Yes. Do I still cry? Yeah. The day that was of her funeral, Bob Russell, the pastor who did the funeral, he said, Kurt, one day, God will make this all right. And then he's quoted Psalm 30, verse 5. Weeping may remain for a night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. And I could not, I just knew weeping. But there was something deep in my soul that there would be rejoicing one day. And a year ago, rejoicing did come. And I was able to marry a widow who also knew devastation and loss and grief and sorrow and pain and the severing of 2 that have become 1. And we got married, and we just celebrated our first anniversary, and God is the God of all comfort.
I have seen the Lord move, and I've seen his comfort throughout the past 3 years. It hasn't been in really huge ways. To be honest, it's more of a peace that, even though everything inside of me feels like he's far away, even sometimes still, and he's distant, I know in my heart that he's not. And I know that one day it will all make sense. I think it's 2 Corinthians 4 talks about our light and momentary trouble is preparing an eternal weight of glory. And sometimes I read that and I'm like, I don't feel any of that. I feel the tribulation and all that. I don't feel the light and momentary, but just knowing that that's true, because I know God's word is true, that alone brings comfort that, okay, I don't have to figure this out. I don't have to conjure up some feelings of love and affection towards the Lord. Over time, he's going to grow that in me, and I just have to be faithful. And even when I'm not faithful, he is faithful, and that alone is what gets me through.